They don't want what we know out there.
How a person can go from really almost nothing to becoming a millionaire by owning rental properties.
He would always buy these flip houses, and I just remember thinking, this guy is crazy. Why would he buy that house?
In the past decade, there's been a huge surge in the peer-to-peer short-term rental market.
Become an insider. So you have to know the rules before you get the game.
Every second counts. So make every second count.
Welcome to the Real Estate Jam. Whether you're just beginning or the best of the best, we're glad you're here. We will share successes, failures, and strategies for the action-taking real estate investor. And now to your hosts, JD and Melissa.
Hi guys, welcome to the Real Estate Jam podcast. I'm JD with my wonderful co-host,
Melissa. Hey, JD.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. I'm super excited. We don't get a lot of
Famous people.
famous people on the podcast. No, we don't get a lot of real conversations with actual agents and people who are doing the agent side of the business on the every episode on the podcast. So I'm super excited to introduce you guys to Nathaniel Pitchon Getzels. And now he's the real estate agent to the stars. He is the founder of the Getzels Group, manages a team, has a lot of experience selling and crafting audiences. And Nathaniel, we're super excited to have you on the show today. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, it's an honor to be here. A pleasure. You both are wonderful. So I was very excited to be invited on your show.
Yeah, everybody says that about us.
They all say, those are some wonderful people. Awesome. Well, Nathaniel, can you maybe take a few minutes to talk to our audience about how you got into real estate and kind of some of your skill sets, and then we'll just kind of take the conversation from there. I'm sure they're going to learn a lot.
Sure, absolutely. I'd love to. So about 12 years ago, I was finishing my master's degree, and I had taught in just about every level of school from preschool administrator to college, minus first through fourth grade because save time, So I was finishing my thesis. I'd done tons of research. I worked as a behavior therapist. I worked in all the different helping professions, if you will, everything about growth. And I was getting offered all these jobs, right? Jobs, great jobs, really, truly for my field, it was great jobs. And I thought, I would be miserable doing any of these things. And that doesn't sound great to me, being miserable, working so hard to be miserable. So I kind of stepped back from everything for a minute and went, okay, what are the things that I love, right? So I still loved helping people and I approach every situation with how can I help, what can I bring instead of what can I get? Right, which I think is really important for people, especially if you're in a business where you're dealing with other people, right? What can I bring to this situation? We all rise with the tide, that sort of idea. So I like that part. My secret obsession, my guilty pleasure was real estate. I'd been investing since I was in college. And then also, that at night, I'd squirrel away on the internet and look at Zillow for hours. And then in college, I also studied where people move, why they move, and the psychology of when the families move and how cities grow, which I thought was completely fascinating. And I have so many random little facts about so many little areas as I drive through. People have lived there their whole life and they don't know half the things I know about their town, which is kind of funny. But so I sat back and I went, okay, what can I do with that? Because I still wanted to help people, but I also liked having my own business and the idea of that. My dad had his own business and I always kind of thought that was the goal. And so thought, well, I could help people make either the largest or one of the largest life-changing decisions of their lives and get to really engross myself in real estate, which I loved, and still help people and grow my own business. So I started, I literally just left the education field completely. And I started I got my real estate license and dove head first and never looked back. So, it was pretty great. And then, back then I started a big brokerage and they had the basic training and they're like, okay, here are the things you want to go door knock and you want to do, the calls and all these fun things. And I'm like, I hate getting those calls and I hate when people knock on my door. I literally, you don't want to knock on my door. I'm not a pleasant person to knock on my door, but I've door knocked 6 homes and I got 5 listings from it. So I probably should do it more. It doesn't resonate with me. Like I said, like with the professions, I have to do things that resonate with me. But what I realized was I was back then, I was on Facebook. That was the predominant social media platform. And back then I was reaching a lot of people organically and I started getting business from it. And I thought, this is really interesting. So I leaned really heavy into that. And for the first few years, most of the agents were kind of telling you, oh, you're going to fail. This isn't the right thing. What are you doing? You're going to be out of this business in a few years. Like, thanks for trying. And then when they saw how much I was selling, they turned around and went, oh, can you actually show us what you've been doing? And that whole time I was trying to show them, right? I'd offered like, I'll show you. And then I was just too busy. So my whole business has always kind of started, the real core of the business was on social media, but it's because my background was about relationship building, right? And because it was relationship building, that's what I wanted to do. And I could really reach a lot of my people organically and authentically online, right? Through Facebook. Because back then you didn't need any money. You just needed time. And I had plenty of time and very little money. So it was a good mix. It was a great mix, But so I was able to reach them. And then I've carried that through my whole business, and everything I do really is about building those relationships. And I think because my core and my background was about building authentic, real deep relationships, it's like go deep or go wide. I'd much rather go deep with 5 people than know 500 people.
Sure.
So because of that, I've been able to create, I would say a pretty unique client base and cultivate an authentic, thriving business from it. So I don't know if that answered your question.
No, absolutely. That definitely gives us a good background. I'm curious now, what does your team look like?
It's a pretty unique team and it's always growing. We just added 3 new people, actually 2 licensed agent and 1 unlicensed agent. I have one fellow who's a newer agent, so he's learning, and we give him a lot of guidance and help him, get new listings and generate those relationships because he doesn't have them yet. But he's had other successful businesses that he ran. So he has a skill set. You just have to kind of now tweak it to real estate versus, rare sports collectibles or whatever, right? Which was a thriving business, actually. Very, very good business. And then I have another woman who, she's great. She's also been an agent about 12 years, but, her and I have different core competencies. So, I don't like dealing with the paperwork and kind of the minutia of the deals and, did this, so she kind of helps guide the deals as they go. Like I'll work with the clients and she'll help, make sure that actually all the agents on the team stay on their schedules and all the paperwork is clean and correct and everything's signed when it's supposed to, which is a very valuable thing to have, but it's just the part I don't want to do. I can, but I get to not do it. Right. And then, I have a couple new agents who are also transitioning. It's like their second or third careers, if you will. So I'm also teaching them how to take all of their assets that they've built in their other professions and now can, refocus them towards helping them in real estate, which is great because they have great relationships. And that's the core competency. I mean, whether you call it my friend Chris Voss, he calls it tactical empathy, right? And another guy, Mark, he has a whole book. Mark Golston, he has a whole book. It's called Just Listen. And really, the core of all these things is attuning with your clients and attuning with the people you're going to see. I was talking to one of my friends, and he owns a huge brokerage and is a very successful agent. He probably has 200 agents in his personal brokerage. And we were talking about the mistakes we've made in the past, right? And one of the examples, and we've both made this mistake, is, we get referred a client, we're excited. It's a higher end client. We don't have any relationship with them. And, earlier on, your impulse is great. Like, one of your first questions is, are you pre-qualified? Do you have a proof of funds? Show me the money, right? Show me the money. But if you don't build a relationship with somebody, they're literally just going to hang up and go away.
Sure.
Right? Because it's the core of all of this is that relationship. So whether you start it online and drive it in person, start it on the phone, drive it in person, ultimately you're buying a house with a real person, and it's a real physical asset. So you have to get in person and build that relationship one way or another, which is the weirdest thing now. Like, all of these meetings, right? I feel like I know you guys now, but if I met you in person, I realize I've never met you in person, right? Like, I do a podcast, and I've had a guy on for months, and I showed him a house the other day, and he comes up and gives me a big hug and goes, "It's so great to meet you." And I'm thinking, I know you. We're old friends. Like, what? I didn't even realize I hadn't met him in person. But so it's all about how you guide and build the relationship with somebody.
Well, I think that's an important point, but can you talk to me a little bit about how you're actually cultivating and building this relationships? Because talking about it and saying it's one thing, but does that mean that you follow up with them with a phone call or a text on their birthday because your CRM told you to? Or are you looking to build a more meaningful, or like you said before, deeper connection with these people?
Right. So it's a several phase program or idea, because for some people, they really, they don't really want to be bothered necessarily, right? Like, personally, I mean, I send them out and people love them, but like, when I get handwritten notes, I'm kind of like, well, do you not own a computer? Like, can you text me? I mean, I don't know. So, there's several phases. So the first is, right. I know it's like a weird perspective for me, but, so like I put everybody into my social media. So I do a couple of produced videos a week, which are authentic items of value. Right. Mm-hmm. So as far as like staying top of mind on a professional perspective, I've got that covered, and it works very, very well. Mm-hmm. It took me years to figure it out, because you don't want those videos to feel too corporate and like too businessy, because then they're not authentic. The whole point of social media is to be social and feel like you're building a connection. So you can't have them too polished, because it turns people off, right? But I get those. Then I have my stories going out, which are just, me on the phone doing wherever, in the house or at a birthday party or jumping in a pool or, in some cool location in the world, sharing that. And then I also, like, what I teach my guys is have your core clients that you're the deepest with, right? Like, I'm always trying to get less people in my CRM, less people on my social media, because I want the higher quality people. So like in social media, for example, when you do a post, it's only going out to about 10% of your people. So if you just have a bunch of followers that aren't interacting with you, you wasted that 10% on nothing, right? You might as well have done nothing. It would have been more productive. You would have saved the time and energy. So you want to have quality people. And the same with your CRM. If you're calling the wrong people who you don't have an authentic relationship with, then it was a wasted call. You just literally wasted your time and theirs. So, in the Ninja, I don't know if you guys ever read that Ninja selling book, but one of the ways that I, not torture, but I ask everybody if they want to join my team to read that book first. And, you have to have somebody's trust, but the most important thing is you have to have a flow with somebody. You have to have that authentic attunement or relationship, or, again, flow, tactical empathy, whatever you call it. So you build that by then taking to the next level. And then the nice thing is when there's those authentic people, they've seen what you're doing online, right? And then you're really in person and you have something to discuss right away, and you deepen that top of mind awareness for that subject. Does that make sense?
Sure, it definitely makes sense. I think some of the critics of that type of marketing are going to say, well, is that approach really scalable? Can you actually get the volume that you need to sustain your life with something like that?
Well, yeah, because the core of it is, this system of basically Instagram, Facebook, and these things that if people authentically like you, they're probably going to be on there, and you can reach, instead of a couple hundred people, if you're calling or mailing or something like that, you can reach a few thousand people a day. I mean, there's some people who I haven't even talked to in years who call me and they go, hey, I saw you were, at this place, or I saw you with this person, or, hey, you were the other day, I saw this video and you were talking about, the interest rates going up. Can you tell me more about that? And it's someone I haven't physically reached out to in, quite a long time. So you have to know who you're dealing with. The people that want to be contacted constantly, you should do that. Yeah. But a lot of people, you can reach a lot more people with a lot less work, and it's authentic. It's really you. Like some of my videos, I mean, I'm a silly guy. So some of my videos are silly and people call me and they'll go, what was that? It's not always positive either, but they're like, what did you think? Did you think you were being funny? And I'm like, I was hilarious. I don't care. Like I was laughing, it's like me and telling, I have a core set of jokes that nobody else finds are funny, but I think are hilarious. If you ever ask me, did I get a haircut? Yeah, I got them all cut.
That's good.
That's me. I mean, I could tell that every day, and I'm laughing at myself. So, so it's about attuning and knowing what your people want. And social media is the easiest way to scale anything. I mean, when I started, I realized I could reach all these people. It didn't cost me a lot. Actually, back then, it didn't cost me anything. Now it doesn't cost me a lot. And it's an authentic way to reach literally thousands of people at the click of a button.
Sure. I think really what it is that you are developing a relationship, and these people that call you up that you haven't personally talked to in 10 years to ask you about the interest rates and this kind of thing, in their mind and the way that they're seeing what you're doing is you are in a relationship. They understand you. They know who you are on a personal level, whether you know them or not. And I think the trick to most of the social media marketing, really marketing in general, is to get those people to know, like, and trust you, and provide them some sort of value so they see you as an asset in their toolbox. And I think the way you're describing your social media strategy is doing exactly that. And I think that's something that can work for the agent side of the house. That can also work for the investor side of the house, and the agent investors together would benefit greatly from being able to cultivate that kind of network or social media following.
Oh, absolutely. And the key is being authentic on it. And people will argue, oh, you're not going to get high-end buyers. Well, I definitely am. Sorry, I don't know if that cut out there.
It did.
It did, but it'll be okay.
Sorry about that. So we definitely do. I've actually generated some of my largest long-term clients who are, probably in the billionaire status of the world through this technique, because, they're getting everything, right? So on the internet, everything is there. So that you have to be able to cut through the noise, right? So if you just have like corporate videos up, you're not connecting, because you're right. You said they have to, what did you say? You have to like, trust.
No, like, and trust you.
No, like, and trust, right? But there's a fourth part, which is they have to attune, they have to connect. There has to be that flow, right? Because if they know, like, and trust this corporate figure, there's no connection still.
Sure.
Right. So that's repeatable. But what's not repeatable is people always will remember. They won't remember what you said in these videos. They won't remember what you said in person, but they'll remember how they felt.
Right.
Right. So if you can create some sort of, either they feel like you're funny or that's actually makes me a little angry. Even if it's something provocative they disagree with, there's an emotional reaction which creates more of a connection with you, even if they never meet you.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so now you've cultivated this audience that you work with. These are your clients. What is if somebody was trying to start doing this on their own, trying to start engaging people with this organic communication and this authentic communication, do you have any recommendations on how they could start doing that, or a path for them to maybe follow that helps them? I think content creation, and especially for us, we're going through this right now, content creation and we do a lot of exciting stuff, but remembering to record it or thinking the thing that I do 20 times a day is going to be valuable for somebody else is a little bit difficult. Do you have any tips or tricks on getting started and moving in that direction?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a few strategies which have taken me years of doing it wrong to figure out. So, it's always good. I learned the most from doing it wrong, and then you figure out what to do right. So first is being consistent. So you definitely, the goal is top of mind awareness. So you have to be consistently post. So what I do is I have where I post 2 professionally edited videos every week as posts, but then I also do at least 5 stories every day. And that story could be a picture, could be a quick video. It could be I share another video that I thought was beneficial, but there's always a personal portion to it there, right? And what you want to do is not just post, like a picture of a donut, but post something that's of value. A long time ago, they would always say the riches are in the niches, which is kind of true. So if you're starting out, you don't have to pick, a certain group to only work with, but you can start with a certain group to focus on, right? Like even if it's as wide as like CEOs. So everything you post then on, let's say you pick Tuesday, CEO day. So everything you post for Tuesdays is CEO day. And then everything you post on Thursdays is for people getting a divorce. Right. So it's targeted, but high value content, but it's something that you want to mean something to you as well. Otherwise that will translate. And if you post that consistently, you'll become more of an expert. And then also I always tell my guys, have 3 things that are current in the real estate market that are going on that you have a 20, 30 second little snippet in your head that you can work into a conversation, right? And if you have those 3 things, wherever that conversation's going, you can work that in and then guide the conversation over to either real estate or whatever that subject is. Is it divorces in real estate? Or so you're creating credibility authentically and organically. Does that make sense?
Sure, absolutely.
And you can do that through videos as well. Those 3 things, if you have like 3 subjects you want to focus on, always do a video about, because the biggest thing is people go, I don't know what to do a video about today, so I don't do anything, right? But if you figure out a schedule or a system or an outline to it, it's much easier. Like I have series that I do. I have like Getting There with Getzels, right? Getting There with Getzels. And every series is I'm driving in the car and I'm talking about a different area. Because remember, like I said, I'm a big nerd and I love studying areas. So I know all this random information about different places, right? Like, did you know the first freeway in LA was originally supposed to go right through a skyscraper? The original design was through the middle of a skyscraper, right? Like there's all these funny little things about the city so that's Getting There with Getzels. And then, there's like fun facts. oh, fun fact. Did you know, 89% of people on earth who are millionaires have the majority of their money now in real estate, right? Or they've invested in real estate, right? So so if you create these little outlines, it gives you structure. And with the structure, you can still be organic and informative, but it's also easy for you now.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right?
That's great.
Yeah,
I like that.
That's really good.
Mm-hmm.
So Nathaniel, if some of the people in our audience are curious about what you got going on, or maybe want to see the examples of these stories and the content you're creating, where do you think we could send them to get them the best overview or the best insight into the way that you're handling your organic, authentic social media marketing?
Oh, absolutely. So the best place right now is my Instagram, which is at Getzels Group, Getzels, and the word group, GROUP, at Getzels Group. And I do manage that. I do have somebody that posts the edited videos because I don't do the editing. I have somebody that does that. And we usually shoot them a couple weeks ahead of time. So that way those are kind of set it and forget it. But I do manage that. I get those messages, follow, like, share, message me, and anything. I'm happy to help.
Yeah, I'm almost a little apprehensive to send that out there since I know that you're in the process of cutting your social media followers, but I think it would be good, at least for our audience, to get on and see some of the stuff that you're actually doing and see it in practice.
Yeah, I would love to have more real, engaging followers. I love it. Absolutely. Awesome. I'd love to have them.
Thank you so much for sharing all of some info with us.
Yeah, we really appreciate your time. I think we'll link to your social media in our show notes, and everyone can go there to see the master in action.
You're too kind. I'd love to see everybody there.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for listening to the Real Estate Jam. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. For more information, check out our website, therealestatejam.com, or find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at The Real Estate Jam. If you have any questions, feel free to drop us an email at therealestatejam@gmail.com. See you next episode.